Hello, welcome to another Home Sold. My name is Steven.Verdelli and I'm a realtor with Coldwell-Banker. We have a special show today. We have JillMead from SOS, Staging, Organizing, and Simplifying. She is a stager that can help you get your home ready for sale or help you just get organized within your house. We have a couple of facts that I'd like to share before we get started today that I thought were very interesting. 94% of staged homes are selling on average in less than a month. Now, I had these checked out, and these are all accurate, which was, I thought, very interesting. And we have another one here from Coldwell-Banker that did an independent research study that staged homes sell an average of 6% more on their asking price, which I thought was very interesting. So I'd like to welcome Jill to the show today.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
I'm excited to be here.
Thank you. Jill, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, my husband moved to Wellesley in the 80s. I moved here in the 90s. We have 6 children that we raised here that are grown and gone and living in all parts of the country. We have a son in San Diego, 2 in New York, a daughter in South Carolina, a daughter in Nashville, and a son in Dallas.
Wonderful.
So,
and all raised here in Wellesley?
Yes, all raised here in Wellesley.
So you're a Wellesley native too?
Not that.
Almost. Okay, great.
A lot of good years here.
Excellent. Tell me a little bit about your company, SOS. How did you come up with the name? I love it.
Oh, thank you. Well, SOS stands for Save Your Ship, so I guess if your house is like a ship, you're trying to save it. I liked the creativity behind it. It worked with staging, organizing, and simplifying, and I think it gave people, but by seeing it, it's kind of the help sign that might attract them to have me come in and help them manage their house or get it market ready or whatever they seem to need.
Absolutely. I really agree with the name, and I think it's really great because I always feel like there's a time, at least twice a year, where I feel like the clutter has taken over in the house. Mm-hmm. And whether it is newspapers, books that I've read that I don't want to get rid of, and I feel like I'm just up to my neck in clutter and waving a white flag saying, somebody please come and help me. Which I think a lot of people,
after the show.
A lot of people can relate to that. How did you get involved with staging?
Well, I started out years ago. I was working for a local clothing designer, and I worked in a shop and managed a store in Nantucket, and clients would come in, and then it moved from helping them to get dressed and organizing for trips with clothing to, oh, could you come and help me clean out my closet? Can you come and organize my closet? And then after you manage that, it moves into, oh, I wish you could do this for my house. So I sort of started out doing it that way, helping people, and anybody that asked, I did it. And then somebody said, you should actually do this for a job and start a company. And one day I was having lunch with a friend of mine, and she's a real estate broker here in town, and she asked me if I would come with her to help her with a house that she was having trouble getting market ready. It was a little bit cluttered and a little overrun by kid stuff. So I went with her and helped her, and the house sold right away, and everybody was excited that came through it, said it looked great. And then because of that, somebody else called me, and somebody else called me, and then the next thing I knew, people were asking for business cards, and it went from business cards to website. So
wonderful.
So
this sort of evolved itself, and I'm sure raising a home with 6 children had a lot to do with this as well. Organization.
Yep, organized.
Exactly, very organized and on point with everything there. What type of accreditations are needed or do you hold to do this?
To be honest, you don't really need any. I actually went and took courses to become accredited and certified to be able to do this, just because I thought it was more important than just saying, well, I've done this for years, sure. And a lot of people think I'm good at it, so therefore I'm qualified. So I became certified as well.
And what is that certification?
You are certified as a stager. You go through a week-long course, and they teach you all the different things that they really want you to focus on and make sure that you know all the services that you should provide for people.
Okay. Oh, that's interesting. So some stagers do not have the certification.
I'm not sure. They don't necessarily have to, but a lot of them do.
Okay.
It's a good idea.
Okay.
Because you can always learn something new.
So when you're staging a home, for those of us who have never used it or don't know exactly what it is, are you using currently what is in the home, or are you bringing in elements from outside? Do you have a warehouse where you keep things?
I don't currently have a warehouse that I supply furniture and things like that, but if it depends on the client. If a realtor has hired me to get a house market ready for their seller, I try not to buy anything because the people are moving. They don't necessarily know what their new space is going to look like and what they will need to in moving forward. So the last thing I want to do is add to their stuff.
Sure.
So I go through the house top to bottom, and usually 99% of the time you can find the right items to fix and move around and repurpose. So the house looks great, and you know,
so
a lot of times it's taking things out too because the house is a little overrun.
So you're using what is currently in the house, not bringing more stuff in.
I like to. I mean, I think it's a great idea to try to save the sellers as much money as possible. And they're looking towards moving to their next house and want to invest in items for that rather than the house they're leaving.
Sure, sure. What if they have already moved out of the house and the house is vacant? It was a relocation, or they've moved and the house isn't selling. Do you have resources that they can rent furniture?
Yes, absolutely. Okay. And you can rent as much or as little as they want. Sometimes if you're working with a builder and it's a spec house, they like to have the master bedroom staged, so you know, a potential buyer can see what size bed it holds, a king size or a queen size, and in the kitchen to see, you know, table-wise, how many people could be sitting in an eat-in kitchen. So you can do a full staging or just, you know, 4 or 5 rooms if it's a 10 or 12 room house. It really depends.
So the idea of staging is very practical, as you mentioned, to see what size bed fits in a room, how many people could fit in a kitchen comfortably. So it's very practical. It's not all about fluff.
No, sometimes when you walk into a house that's on the market and there isn't any furniture in there, you're not really sure where you would situate things and how much space you actually have.
Okay, interesting, interesting. So when you go into these homes, what are the first things that you're looking for? How does one even begin to stage a house?
When you go in and you're looking to get it market ready, you want to make sure your spaces have good access to the next room, or, you know, sometimes people have beautiful draperies, but they're covering up a gorgeous window and a view. Not everybody likes a lot of light in. Natural light in. So you go through and you make suggestions, possibly taking the curtains down or moving chairs away from walking spaces so that a potential buyer has good flow walking through and can really see the best parts of the house. Also, if there are beautiful built-ins, you want to focus on taking a lot of the pictures and things out that might distract a potential buyer, because you don't want them to be looking at your grandchildren, or pictures of your children's weddings. You want them to be looking and appreciating the built-ins for how great they are and what they add to the house and the value of the house.
Absolutely. We understand that. You love your family. The potential buyers don't love your family. They want to love your house. And that's what's important. I understand that. What about wallpaper and painting? I mean, do you make suggestions on that? Does that come up often?
I do. It comes up, and sometimes it comes up in a house where I'm transitioning possibly senior citizens to downsizing them because they've been in a house for 25, 30, 45 years, and the wallpaper's a little discolored, could be peeling off, so you want to suggest possibly taking it down and doing a nice neutral paint. Because wallpaper is a personal choice, so it's hard to have somebody fall in love with a room if they're distracted by a wallpaper they may not like.
So when we're getting into removing wallpaper or having a room maybe touched up or painted, do you have contractors that you can recommend for that?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
I have a list of all different services: movers, contractors, painters, anyone to help you fix it up and get it ready.
Great. Excellent. So it's really the one-stop shop.
Exactly.
That's fantastic. Now, when you're staging, do you suggest doing the whole house or just a couple of rooms?
For going in to get it market ready with a family that lives in there, I like to do the whole house top to bottom, because I think a potential buyer is going to come in and they want to see the whole house. And sometimes people, when they're getting ready to move, they stick everything in the garage. But if you overload the garage with all your stuff, it makes it look like you don't have enough space in your house. And a potential buyer could think, oh, there's not really good storage here. So you have to be aware of the whole property. So from the attic to the garage,
you're staging
I like to
everything.
clean it. Yes, yeah. Absolutely. Clean it all out, get it ready.
I think that's a great idea. Clean basements sell houses.
Exactly.
They do, and clean attics do too. What about when you show up to a house? So I assume your staging goes beyond just what's in the perimeter walls of a home. You're looking at a house and you're giving suggestions about curb appeal, because that's obviously very important when selling a house.
It can be. I mean, the realtors make a lot of suggestions too, but sometimes if you approach a house, a lot of times homeowners like to paint their own front door a different color or maybe a fun color, and their idea of finished paint could be different. Maybe they haven't used a primer. So if I see something like that on the outside and make a suggestion for another coat of paint, or if the backyard is overloaded with toys and things like that, I make a suggestion that we kind of clean that up and organize it. Or
you bring up a good point. Let the painters paint the front doors. A lot of amateur painters. Leave it to the professionals.
Exactly.
Now, as we're disposing a lot of items, can you assist with that, where things can go donated, given away?
Yes, there are a list of organizations. Some will come and pick them up. Some of them you can drop off. The Wellesley dump is great. The Needham dump is great. The Westwood, depending on. I've worked in all the different towns, and they all seem to have great drop-off facilities. And there's there are a list of people who are looking to take donations, and there are a list of people who are looking to pick them up for you and make it easier.
Wellesley Recycling Center does a great job. Keep it up. You guys are aces.
They
do
really
a
are.
fantastic
They
job
really
over
are.
there. Most organized recycling center in the state. Fantastic. I bring people there. Just take a look at it.
People can shop there.
It's great. It's great. You can drop things off and pick
And
things up.
somebody else wants it.
Exactly. What's inspiring you to do this? This is going to be a monumental task when you walk into these large homes that people have lived in for 50 years and say, I got to move out of here in 30 days. Where do you start? I mean, it's just going to be overwhelming.
Well, having done it enough, you kind of get used to going in and trying not to feel as overwhelmed as the potential sellers do. But it's inspiring to go in at the beginning and feel overwhelmed and see the clutter and the confusion that some people can be living with, and then at the end to feel like, wow, this is great. It's a nice, enjoyable atmosphere. It's been cleaned up. It's ready to go, and then ultimately the broker is calling a few days later and saying showings went really well. People loved the space. They really got to see all the things that you showcased when you removed a lot of things, and then finding out the house sold really fast. That's exciting.
That's always a good thing. For 6% over asking,
Exactly.
even better. What are some of the most common things you find people holding on to that they really shouldn't? I guess borderline hoarding. I guess everybody's got a little bit of a hoarding in them. I'm a hoarder of books. I'm a big reader, so I always collect a lot of books.
Books are big. National Geographic is still big. For some reason, I think people, anytime they've been sent a flower arrangement, they need to hold on to the vase. So you find a lot of those in basements, and I think children's toys. They don't really want to part with any of the toys, even though the children have outgrown them.
Sure.
So that's the stuff that you really look for and focus on. All right, pick a few favorites and let's move from here.
So back to, I know we just talked about this, organizations that will pick up clothing, toys, household items. All these things can go to charitable donations where they can get used again.
And then sometimes I've worked with a family who had a piano that they no longer had use for, so they advertised it in the Needham newspaper and said whoever would like it can have it, just that your cost has to be come to my house and pick it up and remove it that way. And there's always somebody that's looking for something for free that they need, that they might not want to spend the money on. There's also some of the schools will take sports equipment, so they'll have extra lacrosse sticks or field hockey sticks that you can donate, and they can leave them there in case someone's child forgot their stick for the day. So there's a lot of different ways to get rid of things that you don't need but somebody else could definitely use.
So if somebody were to say, I'm just starting out, I've got to get started here and I don't even know where to begin, how do you even begin?
Well, if they want to do a lot of the project on their own and they're just asking me to advise them, I say go into the room. If it's a son that's been gone for 25 years, go into the room, pick out 10 of his favorite things, get a storage box, and put the items in there and then go back into the room and reevaluate. Most of what you haven't taken out the first time you can really live without, or he doesn't need to save, and then go back into the room and remove that, and that's what you look at, donating or or even sending to them where they are. You can send them a box and you can keep a box.
Interesting. So you're actually saying start with what you want to keep rather than what you want to get rid of, and sort of start from the inside out.
Right, because sometimes then people go in and they grab everything and they throw it out and they regret some of the pieces that they've thrown out. So I think it's better to start with what you really love and want.
That's interesting. So, okay, you start with a small box and just work your way out from there. So in addition to, staging homes for sale, what about, say, the family who the last child has gone off to school, they're a freshman now, a month into it, they're doing great, the other two have moved out of their house, I've been living in this house for 30 years, 2 kids are out on their own, I've got yearbooks, lacrosse sticks, skates, bikes, tons of clothes. Could you come and help me with that? I'm not moving, but I just want to downsize and thin things out.
Yes, because a lot of times you've saved also every picture that they've ever produced from nursery school through high school, and that's not really necessary anymore. And just organize the most important things to them that you would want to keep, that they possibly would want to keep, and again, just get rid of the rest.
So I could hire you to come to my house and just help me get organized.
Yes.
Help me thin
absolutely.
things out of 30 years of raising these families and make it suitable just for me again.
Yes.
That's great.
Absolutely.
Now, what about, I know on your website you talked about seniors and moving. That's a big issue. I've lived in my house for 50 years, and now I'm moving to one of our wonderful continuing care communities here in the area. Could you help me move over into the smaller apartment from my 3,500 square foot home where I don't need 4 crock pots and 6 colanders?
Exactly.
How do you do that?
Well, we usually go in and we go to the assisted living center that they're going to be moving to and get a floor plan, and then go back to the house and say, okay, these are my favorite items. These are the ones that I want to wake up and see every day in my new home or my apartment size facility. And this is what I'm not interested in, and then identify what, give the children a timeline. By the end of the week, by the end of the month, you need to identify in this house what you want, what you don't want, and then what could be given away. So you kind of just pare down that way and then come up with a floor plan for their new facility that their favorite pieces and what they're most comfortable with will be around them.
Okay.
And then go from there.
So you are preparing homes for sale, you are moving seniors, you are getting folks just reorganized who have their kids moved out of the house, and you're just paring down, and you're doing SOS, which is staging, organizing, and simplifying, correct?
Yes.
Wonderful. Jill, how do people get in touch with you?
My website, JillMeadSOS.org, and you can email me through there.
Wonderful. We have Jill Mead with SOS, Staging, Organizing, and Simplifying. Jill, thanks so much for being on the show today.
Thanks so much for having me.
Absolutely. It was a pleasure. Next, we're going to go to 42 Thackeray Road with Jennifer Madden and look at this wonderful home in the Poets area of Wellesley. So we're here today with Jennifer Madden from Coldwell-Banker in Wellesley, here to talk about 42 Thackeray Road. Jen, thanks for coming on the show today.
Thanks for having me, Steve.
So Jen, how long have you been at Coldwell-Banker?
I just began my 10th year with Coldwell-Banker.
Wow. 10 years.
Yeah.
Good for you.
I know, a blink of an eye.
And you live here in Wellesley?
I do. I live here with my husband and my 3 boys. We've been here for about 16 years. But I also went to Babson College, so I was here for 4 years as a young person, living a different lifestyle at that point. So I really consider being here for 20 years.
I'm sure your days at Babson are a little bit different than your days
of
raising 3 kids as a mom.
A little bit, for sure.
Well, good for you. This is a beautiful home at 42 Thackeray Road, just over 3,000 square feet. Tell me a little bit more about this house.
It's a really beautiful, charming 1940s center entrance colonial that the homeowner has taken such great care of and done updates, basically everything that you could possibly imagine. It's got 11 rooms that flow nicely into one another, a nice open, entertaining floor plan. It has 5 bedrooms and 3 full and 1 half bath, all on a beautiful half acre of land.
This is a gorgeous home, slate roof.
Mm-hmm.
Gorgeous.
Yeah, there's a lot of nice detail with, they had updated the kitchen, which is great, but there's a lot of nice formal space too. The formal living room is 24 by 13, which is typical of this 1940s architecture with beautiful moldings. There is room enough for a baby grand piano in the living room, and they've refinished all of the hardwood floors to a nice dark color, repainted everything from inside and out.
Now, this is in the Poets area, just to divert a little bit from the house. The Poets area is a very small, unique area of Wellesley.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. People love the Poets area. There's a lot of history in that area, and a lot of the streets were named after literary figures. So when you see write-ups and they talk about the Poets area, that has a very wonderful meaning to it. It's on the east side of town, so it's very accessible to highways and shops, and the Warren building, which is the recreation department with the park. They sled in the wintertime. They have all sorts of classes for both children and adults at the recreation center. So it's a great location and a very fun neighborhood to be in.
That's great. Now, I'm seeing these windows here. This house has a lot of built-ins as well.
Yeah, they've got, again, some of the nice charm of the 40s architecture that they maintained while also updating. You've got a beautiful china cabinet where you can have a lot of storage there, and again, nice detail and moldings throughout that they continued on in the additions. The china cabinet is pretty signature in the 40s homes, 20s to 40s homes that you'll see quite often.
That's nice. A lot of them had been removed or taken out or made bookshelves out of. That's nice that they kept this going here.
Exactly.
And these are custom-made Hunter Douglas blinds, I see?
Yeah, the owners went through the whole house and have custom window treatments, Hunter Douglas blinds in all of the rooms.
Now, the kitchen has been completely renovated.
Yeah, in 2007, they expanded the kitchen, raised the ceiling, and put in very nice high-end cabinets with a reputable builder in town. They also made great use of looking out into the yard, so they put in the Pella sliding doors, which actually have the blinds in the glass, which is really neat, so they don't take up any space in the room.
And they don't collect dust either.
And they don't collect dust, exactly. But you know, they made it a very workable kitchen with a nice island in the center that has the Fisher-Paykel drawer dishwashers, plenty of room for 3 stools, lots of great features in the kitchen. There's some pretty detail, like under cabinet lighting. There's a wine refrigerator. There's a double Wolf ovens and a Wolf cooktop. There's a Sub-Zero refrigerator.
So this is a real chef's kitchen.
Definitely. And they did some nice non-glamorous things that people appreciate, like converting to gas, upgrading the electrical. They really were mindful in everything that they did in the property.
Behind the scenes here. I see here in the kitchen that they have the raised electrical outlet. That is one of the best ideas for running appliances right there in the kitchen.
Definitely. Yeah, it's a very functional kitchen. And the nice part is there's a step right off to the side of the kitchen is the family room, and as well as out to the backyard. So it's very accessible to the family room as well as an eat-in kitchen. So you have lots of space.
So the kitchen is not only beautiful, but it's actually an eat-in kitchen.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, they again, they put in a lot of thought in what they did there. Some neat details. My ever favorite spice pull-out drawer that is a hidden detail, but very easy to see all of your spices. Little details like that. Beautiful backsplash tile, under counter lighting, like I said. There are crystal cabinets, which are high-end line that have dovetail drawers and soft close, which you'll appreciate those terms if you've ever redone your kitchen, because
Sure.
those tend to be very nice features.
And professional gas cooking.
Yep, 5-burner gas Wolf cooktop.
An exterior vent.
Yes, yep.
It's the family room.
Yeah, there's a great 19 by 20 family room, like I said, right off of the kitchen. Also has sliders to the patio that wrap around the patio. There's a gas fireplace, and it's a nice big room with lots of light. And the house is actually north facing, so you get a ton of light in the back of the house in the afternoon especially.
Custom built-ins, I love that.
Yeah, they ended up typically this 1940s house, the living room would be dead-ended and there wouldn't be as much a flow. And they were very thoughtful in 2008 and did an addition of a library that connected the kitchen with the living room. So it's a nice entertaining flow. And they did a beautiful vaulted ceiling with built-ins. There's also a desk area, so you could use it as a home office, as a den. You could even use it as a formal breakfast area if you really wanted to, but their daughter practiced violin in this room. It's really a multi-purpose room, but it ties the flow together very nicely in the house.
And a 3-season porch.
Yeah, off the living room. This was another nice detail in the 40s. They always had a nice little 3-season porch off the side. They've maintained it so beautifully, and it's just a fun room to have. All the windows have screens, so you could use it as a screened-in porch, but also gain 2 seasons in the spring and in the fall if you'd like. And there's a door that goes out to the yard.
That is great.
Yeah.
Now they have a half bath on the first floor.
Yeah, all the baths have been updated. So on the first floor, right off of the kitchen, there's a beautiful, very neutral half bath, and then you'll have 3 full baths upstairs.
Now the master bedroom is huge at 13 by 20.
Yeah, it's a great sized bedroom. Again, there's hardwood floors throughout, and it's that nice, dark, rich colored floor, so it's really makes the room pop. It's very nice, neutral. It has his and hers closets. And the previous owner had actually updated the master bath, so it's a nice Carrera, very pretty bathroom.
Right. One of the kids' rooms?
Yeah, you have a number of great size rooms for the kids. Again, hardwood floor everywhere. There's a 13 by 12 room that, again, is the front of the house, gets great sun. There's a 13 by 10 room, which is very sweet. And the hall bath, which I mentioned, has been updated by the previous owner, but a nice neutral black and white subway tile, tub shower, very functional for a family. And then there's a bedroom over the garage, which has back stairs leading down into the family room, which was very nice. A lot of times you'll see for a guest suite or an au pair, because it has an ensuite bath. And that bath they just added over the family room addition that the previous owner had done. And so the bath was done in 2011. And again, a very nice neutral white cabinet, Carrera, tub stall shower, very nice space.
Very nice.
Then you also have some living area in the basement, which is always the fun kid play area. There's actually 2 sections of the basement. There's a 13 by 17, which they had set up as a kid's room, and they have the laminate hardwood floor, so it's a nice, clean, dry basement. There was also a 12 by 16 room where they had their treadmill set up, and it has a little exercise room. Okay. And then the real exciting, interesting part of this basement is the owner was a wine collector and built a 1,000-bottle humidity-controlled wine cellar.
That is the best part.
That is a
fantastic.
Very nice surprise when you get to the basement, for sure.
That is great. And the racks remain there?
Yep, it's all built in.
I'm sure he took his bottles, though.
He did, unfortunately.
Beautiful manicured backyard.
Yeah, they spent a lot of money in landscaping, and really, again, everything that they did to the highest quality. There's a beautiful 1/2 acre of land that they tiered the yard and have really amazing plantings and perennials that bloom all year long, and just different times of the year you can appreciate different plantings. They have a nice paver patio that they wrapped around to the driveway. It's the nicest driveway I've seen. And it carries all the way around to the front. They've replaced the garage doors. They've replaced all of the wooden shutters. There's a combination of copper and wood gutters that complement the slate roof. So there's a lot of charming detail to the house.
Now, Jen, just over, how big is the house again?
It's 3,135 square feet.
3,135 square feet. And if somebody were interested in seeing this house, how would they get in touch with you?
They can call me directly for a showing. We typically are there on Sundays for an open house. Certainly on newenglandmoves.com you can find out more information, and there's a button to contact me directly that I can happily show it.
We will be putting the house on our Facebook page, as well as Jen's information of how to get in touch with her.
One thing I wanted to mention about this particular neighborhood is it's a walking distance to the Schofield Elementary School. There's a path that all the children walk together. There's a Halloween party that they all do, a neighborhood potluck supper in the winter, and they even have their own listserv group, sort of an Angie's List, if you will, where they all communicate with each other about trying to find a good painter or babysitter. And
So it's really a neighborhood
really
that works
nice,
together.
Very nice neighborhood.
Nice, safe neighborhood. Wonderful.